idea was it for us to talk about traditions?
I thought it was yours.
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
say
What?
you.
Yeah, I thought it was
You're the
your
mastermind
idea.
behind all of
Why?
this.
Why would I think of traditions? Like, what traditions would I know of?
I mean, I thought you had heaps of traditions ready to go. So I was like ready to listen and I was going to learn from you. And
Traditions. Oh, well, maybe not quite a tradition, but something that we did a lot back in Zimbabwe was how we celebrated birthdays. I don't
Okay.
know about you guys, but
Mhm.
birthdays were a huge thing. They still are in my family of three. um, but, but they still our birthdays mean so much, and we used to have these huge birthday bashes, and I always felt like everyone would try and outdo each other. So each birthday was always at a really beautiful, either beautiful restaurant or people would have it at their homes. There would always be huge cakes and there were always gifts. And not, if you brought a cheap gift, you got the look and you'd be sure not to be invited for the next birthday
Wow.
party.
Wow.
So
That would
was
be
this
me straight
every
Yeah.
away.
year? Was this every birthday, M, or milestone birthdays, or
Every birthday.
wow.
Wow.
Even the Saki 24 when you're like confused about the world. Every single birthday. But the milestones one, you brought something up, Sandra, the milestones one. Oh, I think people went broke celebrating those ones.
Yeah.
I really think they did.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because in Nigeria, it's everything, right? So it's
Mm.
the birthdays, it's when you buy a new house or you move into a new house, it's the baby dedication, it's the baby naming, like when you give your child a name, it's the what else can I think of? The graduation, like when you finish uni.
Oh.
It's everything. There's always a reason to celebrate. That's apart from baby showers, bridal showers, and and for a lot of these celebrations, we would have, I don't know if you've heard the term before. If you watch Nigerian movies, you would have heard of it. It's called Ashebi. So everyone,
Ashebi.
yes, Ashoebi, yes. So
Ashebi.
everyone would wear the same, like choose a particular clothing, like our native year, and everybody will be exposed. Not everybody, most of your friends, that's like
Mm.
75% of your friends would be expected to dress up in the same clothing, like the same traditional. Yeah, we'll all have different designs, but it's the one color that we've all chosen that we're going to wear. Yeah, so
Oh,
everyone will come
nice.
colorful. Well,
Pressure? No pressure.
nah, nice if you only have one to go to, but sometimes you have, like in a month, you're going for one to the other. So it became quite expensive afterward because you
Oh.
Mm,
still have to buy a present. Like you
true.
buy the clothes and you still have to buy a present, and yeah.
So
It
you'd
be-
need to have the outfit
yes.
plus a gift. Oh,
Yes.
wow. Well, the tailors must be very rich in Nigeria.
Uh-huh. I'm
Yeah.
not even kidding. I'm serious. Like it's a thing. You have to come with the clothing. I mean, some people get away with not buying gifts, or you just buy anything. But the clothes, it's really important because the
Wow.
photos and obviously the food and everything else. But yeah, that's a real
Oh,
thing. There's
oh,
always a reason
wow.
to celebrate. There's always, yeah.
Okay.
And has that carried through to Australia, Uruga?
For
Mm,
so mostly this is I wouldn't say it happens so much in Brisbane, but in Sydney it's still very
Mm.
much now, still very much
Is
so.
that it's because it's a larger
I
community and
guess
it's just
so.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, it continues. And then I think Brisbane, because I would dare to say that we're not kind of in the one area, or kind of, there's
mm.
people in north, south. Yeah, maybe that's why, I don't know, but it's not the same here in Brisbane. It's a little bit, which is
I feel
nice.
like nothing happens in Brisbane. Okay, when I say nothing, I exaggerate. But if you and I don't know if you would have noticed this because you moved here when you were 5, so there's a lot that you're literally Australian when you moved here. But did
Yeah.
you notice because you lived in Sydney for a while, right?
Yeah, for five
Was
years.
there difference in like cultural celebrations that was more defined in Sydney than in Brisbane, or
I would
that
say
didn't?
so because there's a bigger Ghanaian community in Sydney. So when they do celebrations, it's like everyone's kind of,
Mm.
there, and it's a big turnout as compared to Brisbane, where like already was saying, they're just like everywhere and everybody's doing their own thing. So you're even lucky if you get like a group of people together. So I just think, yeah, it's just a difference in location and community size. Yeah.
Sandra, what are the things your parents missed here when they moved here?
Drizzle. That's what they missed coming from the north of England. No,
Grizzle, what's
What?
that?
I'm just kidding. No, they loved the sunshine. They loved the fact that you could celebrate Christmas in the middle of
Mm.
summer,
Yes.
because of
Uh-huh.
course they came from the north of England, where you would get drizzle, you'd get cold weather. And
Mm.
my whole childhood was spent having the house absolutely sweltering, because back in those days we didn't have air conditioning. I think we had one pedestal fan that would be in the kitchen, and my
Mm.
mum would be in the kitchen all day making roast potatoes, roast turkey, roast vegetables, baking pie, mince pies, and
Oh,
just doing
yum.
all of those stodgy cold weather foods that just weren't appropriate. But that was what we did because it was Christmas, and we'd have a bottle of fizzy wine, and because they didn't drink really
Yeah.
very much at all, unlike
Yeah.
their daughter. Now they, um, but that was probably the big thing. And when we lived in the country, we did have relatives who were in the next town for a couple of years, but they eventually sort of migrated more towards Brisbane and opportunities that were there. So for a few years, my family was fairly much just on their own. There was just the five of us, my older
Mm.
sister, younger brother, and my two parents. And yeah, so we just did our little Christmas thing every year until we moved to Brisbane, followed the rest of the family, and then suddenly this whole new Christmas tradition opened up with, they all had swimming pools. So they had, instead of having, well, not all, but at least one or two aunties had swimming pools. So it was always held at their house. And it was always bring your togs, and they'd be eating off paper plates with barbecue food and maybe some cold food and salads and prawns and things like that, still in their togs. And then, just a totally different, and it was like, it still takes me a little bit to get used to the whole Aussie Christmas, which clearly the rest of the family had embraced, but my folks, being that little bit further away, didn't
Mm.
experience it quite so much. And I still like to have my Christmas dinner on a porcelain plate, not on a paper plate, and things
Ah.
like that. It's just me. But
Wow.
so it was sort of that. And they did, one of my uncles who passed away when he was too young, 46 I think he was, started
Oh.
this tradition of singing Christmas carols on Christmas Eve. So everybody would get
Oh.
around and sing old
It's
English
the
Christmas carol, the
best.
Holly and the Ivy, and all sorts of other things.
What?
And they still
Mm.
do it.
I'm
They
with you,
still
Em.
sing,
I
they
have
still
no
do
idea
get
what that
together,
is.
and I do it every couple of years. Oh, the
Yeah.
Holly and the Ivy. I'm not going
Yeah,
to
I
sing it to
haven't
you,
heard
but
that
it's a
one.
very traditional.
I was waiting for you to sing
There
it
he
so
is.
I could.
Good King
I'm looking it up.
Wenceslas.
I'm looking it up.
Oh, come all ye faithful. They're all very traditional old English Christmas songs. But they throw in a bit of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and a few others now as well, because there's
Mm.
more children coming through. But yeah, they still do that. So I guess that is English tradition that's been Aussified over 50 or more years, I suppose,
Mm.
Wow.
from when they first emigrated.
Christmas is an interesting one. And I know I'd be like with Leaf, did you guys come in and adopt the Australian Christmas way, or did you have a certain tradition you followed when it came to Christmas?
I wish I could say we adopted the Aussie way, but I still don't know what that is till this day. I'm still struggling to the concept of what an Australian Christmas is, aside from maybe
It's
barbecue
the
or something.
pool. It's the
Yeah,
pool, the cold shrimps.
where it come from though, or the prawns? Like, where the seafood? Anyways, it's all good. Yeah,
Good.
we kind of had our own traditions. Um, that my mum kind of started. She would wake up
Mm.
super early, have a massive breakfast ready for us. And then she had this bell she would ring to wake us all up. And then we'd all get up and stuff our faces with food.
Ooh.
And then we go like house hopping, because the Ghanaian community, like aunties and uncles, will be throwing parties. So you don't just want to visit one, you want to go to all of them. So you go house hopping, different parties going on, and it was fun. It was really good.
Wow. Well, I guess it's nice if you've got a community around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What's yours like? Or I mean, you throw big parties.
I'm
Yeah.
What's
sure.
Christmas
So
like?
I think I think what you were describing, Olivia, sounds very much like what we were used to. This is in Nigeria, where when we were growing up for
Mhm.
Christmas, obviously you dress up in the morning, have your food at home, and then move from one house, pretty much door knocking.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, door knocking for money. Yes, I think that's Halloween. I think that's Halloween here, but you get lollies instead.
Yes.
Nigeria, you go door knocking at Christmas for money.
That's a good idea.
You get money
I
and
should adopt that one.
I know. No one really gives you food because there's so much food around. I mean, you would get food, but then you don't want food. It's the money you want. So you're going
Yes.
from one auntie to one uncle, from one house to the other house. At the end of the day, you would have probably walked knows how many kilometers, just making sure that you have, or you can compete with your brother, your sister, your cousin, your nephew, how much more money you have than they have, because it's like a competition. Yes, it was really good. But
So
coming
people would give you money.
yeah,
Wow.
people would actually for Christmas and certain events, we would actually go to the bank. I don't know if you guys have seen this before. You go to the bank and have clean Christmas notes
Okay.
to give to kids, to give to sometimes to give to older people as well, like elderly people. So you would have clean notes
I've
just
seen
for the
that.
purpose of
Yeah.
Christmas, so that yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
It was a thing. It was a thing. And most adults would definitely have money at home waiting for children to come knocking. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like Halloween.
My daughter would love that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my kids missed out on that one. But they did.
So
The,
what do you do now? Like here in Australia, what do you
Yeah, that's
do?
what I was trying to. So when we were in Sydney, we did have a big community at church, and it
Mm.
was, I think, for some, I don't know how it happened, but we kind of reinvented what happens in Nigeria, because after church, we would all gather around, just start talking, and then 3, 4 hours later, we're still at church, we're just talking, or sometimes we'd go to someone's house, and then from church, what we decided to start doing was every year we would rotate Christmas and have it at someone's house, where
Oh.
you probably bring a plate, but for the most part, one person is hosting. So that's how my kids grew up. They grew up with
Mm.
Christmas was always a big celebration where there were lots of people around, and obviously, as you know, after a while, they all become aunties and uncles. So
Yes.
it was still a very big celebration with all the traditional food. Yeah, so Christmas for me, Christmas is really special. I love Christmas, but I loved what you were describing not long ago, Sandra, with all the songs and the I
Mm.
don't think we've. I cannot honestly say that we, like Olive said, we do an Australian Christmas yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still figuring
we've
out what
just
that is.
we've just transported Nigeria back into Australia and just do what we've
Ex-
always done.
exactly.
Well, I think that's what everybody does, though, and that is a tip. That is an Aussie Christmas, isn't it? It's just a
Yeah.
little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm
Yes.
sure. Well, I've got friend one friend whose mum is Dutch and her dad is Italian, but they have to have
Oh.
the traditional Christmas lasagna.
Oh.
Ah.
So, which I wouldn't have thought is
Interesting.
Christmas food, but they've got to have
Yeah.
Nonna's
Oh,
um,
wow.
lasagna every year. So it's whatever you make it, really, isn't it? It's what
Mm.
it's what
Yeah.
it's what reminds you of probably of childhood, which is what you've spoken
Yeah.
about, Arita, and
Mm.
just what children would love, and that's your fond memories, isn't it? So, and
Mm.
that
Yes.
what then it becomes a tradition. But I
It
think
Yeah.
does.
the
Mm.
It
good thing about
does.
Australia is you can have any, you like the Greek traditions, there'll be one for you. You like any. We're all from everywhere, basically.
Yes.
So you can adopt every tradition, and if you just want to sit by the pool, or if you like my sister goes playing golf because she's not into
Oh.
Christmas,
Really?
and
That's
she knows that
Christmas?
interesting.
she knows the golf course will be empty.
Oh,
Oh, that's
That's a good reason.
strategic.
that's
Yeah.
Very
interesting.
strategic. She's like in denial. No, Chris, it's not a thing. It's not happening. It's not happening to me.
Oh, that's
I
interesting.
remember one of my first jobs. A woman asked me if I knew what Christmas was.
Oh.
And I looked at her and I was like, oh. What's that? and, and she genuinely thought I was serious. And she then tried to explain what Christmas was. And it's in
Ah,
December, people celebrate. And then I said, look, I'm kidding. I think the whole world, everyone knows what Christmas is. And people celebrate it in one way or the other. Some don't, but even if you don't celebrate it, you know it's there. So, but yeah, that was interesting.
Gee,
It was a very interesting question.
I don't know
But
how I
on
would
that,
react to that.
yeah, I decided to have a little bit of fun with her.
Yeah, you did
Um,
well.
Because then you try and get someone who's put their foot in their mouth, which essentially she had,
yeah.
to actually try and explain it to
Herself.
someone,
mhm.
and she could completely get the wrong. She could
Yeah.
completely miss. I mean, there's all sorts. Oh, it's the Roman Saturnalia,
Mhm.
celebration, and then it became a Christian celebration, and then it became
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Valentine's
This
Sand, and
was
then
Laid
sell
down.
extreme.
cards, and then Coca-Cola invented this guy called Santa. Yeah, you could just go completely,
The
and then
history
you'd
of
be going,
Christmas.
Basically.
You didn't even know that.
It's
Thanks
like
for the
you
education.
explain, and then I will explain.
Yeah. Thanks,
exactly.
thanks for the education. Didn't even know that. Christmas? What's that?
My husband used to say, "Who invented Christmas, for Christ's sake?"
That's a good one.
I can't claim
Oh,
that's mine.
Sandra, I honestly think you should have like a book, where you write all of these things that you say. Just throw it out
yes.
there.
Yes. We need that. But
Oh, goodness.
ladies, thank you. Thank you so much for, talking about traditions. I think, when you hear traditions, it just sounds like something old that used to be done ages ago and you're still doing it. But I love how you've all put it in that it's something that you start doing and you do it consistently, and it ends up just being a tradition for your family or your community. I do think we should revive the money giving though. Okay, maybe we're a bit too
Hmm.
old to get the money.
No, you're never too old.
No, 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 no.
Don't exclude anyone.
That's discrimination. Emma, don't do that, please.
Yeah, but I completely dig the whole giving money thing.
Yeah.
I've got a few ideas now.
Not just money, Emma. You give
Mm.
clean crisps, right? It has to be clean.
Clean,
It has to be
clean,
clean.
So,
clean.
Yes,
yes.
it's not just,
Even
it's not
better.
just your, yeah. It has to be
Even
clean.
better. But yeah, thank you. Thank you. And if you've been listening to this episode and there's something that tugged at you about something that you grew up doing that you miss, or something that you used to do which you've carried on with your kids, or, with family or with friends, we would love to hear about it and share it on our next show. So keep the emails coming and let us know the things that you celebrate with your loved ones every single year. If it's big parties, if it's money giving, be rest assured you'll see the four of us at your next party. So, our Empowered Note today is sponsored by Vaka Consulting. And when you consider the things that are before you, and you consider the things and the place you've come from, do not diminish what you've achieved, because every single day that you wake up, put your feet on the ground and move is a step towards something that you want to achieve. So every single day you open those eyes is a huge accomplishment by itself. And it is not ticking boxes, it is not achieving something phenomenal that the world will look at, but it is a personal journey to you. And each and every day, you deserve celebration. And on that note, we'll see you again on our next episode. Take care and keep the traditions alive.